Lucas Paqueta has been charged by the FA for spot fixing. If found guilty, is his career over?
I mean, depends what they found him guilty of, but certainly based on precedent.
Have we seen this before? I don't think we have. Maybe it's once, have we? In terms of someone spot fixing for...
There was a guy who named Keenan Isaac, who I'd never heard of, who played for something called Stratford Town. So I'm assuming... I don't know which Stratford it is because, in this country, because you're not very imaginative with names.
You're blaming me?
Well, you know how there's a Greenwich in London and there's a Greenwich up north somewhere and there's a Richmond in London, there's a Richmond up north. And there's
it's not hard, is it? You just choose the one that you want to go to.
There's 3 different places named Ashton, whatever.
What did he get? 10 year?
Well, he was spot fixing. He was found completely guilty. He took money from professional gambler. So he was found to have taken money from professional gamblers.
And I read this was on Paqueta Island, apparently.
Well, that's that the reason. So Paqueta is not. It's not his real last name. It's just he's from this island, which is a small island. I think it's maybe 3,000 people. It's right in sort of the internal bay between Rio and Niterói, right by Rio de Janeiro, and it's a tiny, picturesque island. Yeah. And as it appears that there's a bunch of people, and so the reason he's known as Lucas Paqueta is because he's from there, right?
Oh, so right, yeah. I didn't know that.
It was as if you were Don Newcastle.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Or where'd you grow up?
Gateshead.
So if you were Don Gateshead, right?
I like
If you were Brazilian, you'd be Don Gateshead.
Oh, I like
Much cooler than Don Hutchison. Anyway, so they found, they monitor these things, unusual betting patterns. They found a bunch of people, started in Brazil, in fact, a bunch of people were betting on an island on him getting yellow cards. And then you've probably seen the video of the 4 yellow cards that they're investigating. Yeah. They look unnecessary. What does it mean? I don't know. Were the family members
involved?
But the thing is, I mean, this is different. It's one thing when this is one step away from match fixing. And this other dude got a 10-year ban, and he basically is a semi-professional player.
Why would you get involved?
I don't know, but think of the impact here. Think of Think if West Ham had moved him to City last summer. Yeah. Think of Lopetegui now coming into this situation. It's been addressed by the Brazilian national team.
I wonder how they actually prove this then.
Ahead of the Copa America?
Wonder how they actually prove it.
Difficult, I believe it's not a court of law, so they only have to prove it on the balance of probabilities. So if Paqueta doesn't give good answers, he's handed over his phones and... But again, he's facing 2 charges of kind of being slow to hand over information. He denies all this, of course. And he said, no, I wasn't slow to hand over information. I mean, we don't know. But ultimately, this panel is going to decide based on that. I'll probably get some nerd to come up with statistical probability of all these people on Paqueta Island kind of betting on this. It does not look good for him. It does not look good for him, but he just said he denies he's going to prove his innocence, and it would be sad because if it's a shorter ban, but you know what? In a world where you can get a 1-year ban for simply gambling on sports, rather than actually trying to influence the outcome on the pitch, which is what the accusation is here. Yeah. Even 3-4 years.
I just don't know how you get involved in it.
No. Southampton are back in the Premier League. They beat Leeds United 1-0 in the Championship playoff final. Don, your thoughts? You love the Championship playoff final.
I do. I'm a little bit gutted that Leeds didn't come up, though. Just a bigger club, great story, good young players.
Big Daniel Farke fan, right?
It was a good game. I mean,
Farke, Frank, both sort of.
Oh, you see, I wonder.
Both start with F. Both short names.
You see where my tendencies are
both
going.
Northern Europeans.
Do you know what, Gabra? I've played in 3 playoff finals, and they are.
You have a brilliant record in them.
Disgusting to play in. They are horrible. Right, I've played in 3. I've won 2. Won 1, lost 2. And they are horrible because hardly anything about the game is enjoyable apart from the win. There's always a game plan, of course there is, from a coach, and the players want to sort of, I hate the word, but I'm going to say it, execute. I hate that word, but they're going to execute the game plan and listen to the manager's instructions. But all of it just goes out the window because of the stress. And 5 minutes in, you do not want to be the man that makes the mistake. You don't want to be the person that tries that risky pass and you give the ball away.
Were Leeds too conservative in this game?
I think they were. I think it took them a long time to get going. I was watching the game, and again, it was like the minutes were ticking by, and it's like, come on, man, you're going to leave it. And I know the dynamic of this game. I've watched a million games. I've played them. What you're going to do is you're going to wait to 10 minutes to go. Then you're going to throw centre halves up, and you're going to go route one, and you're going to get crosses in the box. And you're going to have chances. It's like that's what you want to do from minute one and win the game. But I understand that the pressure and the jeopardy makes it a terrible game to play in.
From a coaching and messaging perspective, what I find so interesting about this is if you have a team like Leeds, who, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow the championship at all, but my understanding, and please correct me too, producer Freddie, who's eavesdropping on us.
I've seen them loads. I've seen them batter Chelsea.
Okay. No, but what I'm saying is they were close to automatic promotion. They should have had automatic promotion, right? Yeah. So when you miss out on that, you kind of take some of that negativity with you into the playoffs, more 100%. So than a team that maybe finishes 5th or 6th and we're 20 points off and never had a chance.
100%.
So that's where, as a manager, you have to maybe turn it into a positive. You tell your players, guys, we were close to automatic promotion.
Yeah.
We're a lot better than these other clowns.
Yeah.
Or do you know what I'm saying? Is you have to get buy-in from the players. And that, I think, is a real messaging skill.
It is, but I think at the same time, if you're a manager and you've missed out, your biggest job is not managing down as in the players, it's managing up. And you're saying to the board, please don't get rid of any of these. Because there's going to be so many Premier League clubs that are going to want to buy a half a dozen of these Leeds players. If you sell them, and we only got in the playoffs, you sell them, we might finish mid-table. And then all of a sudden you're looking at a Leeds cycle again. It might take you another 20 years to get back up.
Reports out there that Leeds need to pay, will need to shed a number of players just to meet some of the profit sustainability requirements.
The standout player, and I've seen him play against Chelsea, I
Willie,
believe.
say Willie.
I'm going to say Archie Gray. Archie Gray ran the show. Pretty sure Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo played in the game, and he ran the show. He is so good for a teenager. He will be, and he won't want to go. Massive Leeds mini icon, even though he's a teenager. They'll be desperately sad if he has to leave. But they have got some players like Somerville who they can try and sell on. But the trouble is, as I said, if you sell them on, then how do you get to playoffs next season? How do you win the championship next season? Howard Kendall told me one thing when I was in the championship with him at Sheffield United. Buy championship players, you'll stay in the championship. You need to buy Premier League players if you're going to try and get up. That's going to be the difficulty.
Celtic beat Rangers to win the Scottish Cup final. It's a double for Brendan Rodgers and friends, and I am directing this question at you because, of course, you're Scottish.
Yeah, and a Rangers fan. So a little bit gutted. Yeah.
You guys kept it close till the end, yeah?
To be honest, in all the games I've watched, and all the old firm games, or the majority of the ones I've watched this season, Celtic have been too good. I think the standard of football needs to improve massively in Scotland. When I was watching a lot of the old firm games, it was almost like watching, I don't want to be disrespectful and say championship football, but the standard needs to improve a hell of a lot, Gab. I'm watching games and I'm thinking there's not really great control. There's players that give the ball away. It's exciting because if the standard's not great for Celtic, it's not great for Rangers. They make for sort of quite even games. But to propel yourself into European football and Champions League football, and if you are going to try and survive, they need a lot more investment. They need money. They need to buy better players. It's always difficult. But you've got to credit Brendan Rodgers, the job that he's done. He was a manager at the start of the season who was under pressure for his job. So to turn it around and get a double, amazing. So it shows that once and when you're prepared, might be a David Moyes moment. If you go up to Celtic or if you're Rangers and you go up there and you win trophies, you can put them in the bank and you can put them on your CV and you go, yeah, I won a lot of trophies. That's definitely what Brendan's done.
A David Moyes moment. Do you see David Moyes?
No, Scotland? Wherever he goes next, he's if he does go to Scotland, if he goes to Celtic, if
where else is he going to go? He's a Celtic guy.
Okay, if he goes to Celtic, if Brendan gets enticed like he did for Leicester, he might get enticed down to the Premier League again. Might happen, might not. He might be a little bit more loyal this time and stay. David Moyes has got a chance to put some trophies in the cabinet along with the conference.
Well, after Thomas Frank goes to Manchester United,
or Chelsea,
Brentford job might be open for Davy Moyes.
Sounds
like a perfect natural fit.
Well, let's not get me started on the job that he done at West Ham because I thought he was absolutely brilliant at the time he was there.
Philippe Coutinho is back at Aston Villa from his loan spell at Al Duhail in Qatar. Don, reportedly, they'll try to work out a deal to get him another loan move. There's been mention of Vasco da Gama. of course, owned by your friends at 777. But the reality is they're on the hook for another 2 years of big wages at Villa. Should Emery even try?
Yes and no, because yes, the reason is he's still a brilliant player technically, but I think the Premier League's moved on and it's too fast for him now. So the answer to that is no. So there's the contradiction. So I think if you're Unai Emery, you try to move him on. Villa will probably have to do a deal with someone where you send him on loan and pay a certain percentage of his wages.
Yeah,
it's
a very high percentage of his wages.
Exactly. It's probably the only way. And I think you listen to the player. You ask the player, if you see that he's got fight in his eyes and you think that he's going to have a strong pre-season and get fitter and get stronger and stay away from injuries, then you might. But I think the way Unai Emery coaches these individuals and coaches them into being more of a team ethic than a star free man number 10 where you can carry an individual. The Premier League's not really meant to sort of carry individuals anymore, of that sort of number 10 where you can carry one player and the rest of the team will get you out of it. So I think if you're Unai Emery, I think you try and you probably move on. I think it'll be difficult because you said the wages that he's on is going to be huge. So they're going to have to suffer.